Hey, what is going on everybody, Arte here, and welcome back to a new Black Ops 2 Best Class episode. So today we'll be covering the LSAT, which is actually the first Diamond LMG covered here on my channel. So the LSAT is just the type of LMG that I like. The recoil is pretty low, the fire rate is also pretty low, but in this case it shoots just as fast as the MSMC and the PW57, which actually gives you kind of like a slight advantage at close range as well, because the damage is of course a lot higher than for the average weapon. And the thing is that this gun is incredibly powerful at medium range. That's where I like it the most, at medium range, mainly because unlike the MK48, this thing does have a little bit of recoil, making it a little bit less good at a long range than the MK48. I'm not gonna lie, this thing is still incredibly good at long range as well, but I just like to use this one at close to medium range. So the class setup that I'm going to be showing you in a second is also one that is more suited towards close to medium range engagements. Anyway, the class setup is shown on screen now. It's the LSAT with the suppressor, the quick draw handle, and the adjustable stock. My wildcards are first off primary gunfighter, allowing me to have a third attachment, and also perk 1 greed, allowing me to have a second perk 1. My two first perks are ghost and lightweight, my second perk is toughness, and my third perk is dexterity. Now in this video I'm going to be breaking down this class setup. I'm going to be explaining to you why I use these perks, why I use these attachments, etc. And we're first off going to be taking a look at the attachments, which are once again the suppressor, the quick draw handle, and the adjustable stock. So first off, the suppressor is going to make sure that you do not show up on the minimap. Now this is actually pretty crucial, pretty essential when you're using a gun like the LSAT, when you're actually rushing around with the LSAT, because the thing is that when you come across a player that is using an MSMC, that is using a PDW, an R870, or even an MTAR for that matter, they zoom in a lot faster than you do. So you want to make sure they do not know where you're at, because if they know where you're at, they're simply going to be winning most gunfights against you. Now next up, the quick draw handle is of course going to be improving ADS speed. It's going to turn your 600 milliseconds ADS speed into a 400 milliseconds ADS speed, which is definitely going to be helping you out quite a bit. Now next up, the adjustable stock is going to make sure that you can actually stray around corners with the LMGs as well. A little tip that I will actually give you is that you should always zoom in before you turn the corner. That way you're going to be winning a lot more gunfights, and that way you can simply catch a lot of enemies off guard. Now next up, my first two perks are Ghost and Lightweight. Now Ghost goes hand in hand with the silencer. It just makes sure that you do not show up on the minimap, and because Lightweight actually improves your speed by 7%, you also do not show up on the minimap when you're actually aiming down sights with the LMGs when you're actually using an adjustable stock. That is something that you should definitely keep in mind. You will probably see Lightweight and the adjustable stock on a lot of my LMG class setups. If you do not like that, we'll also be posting a pretty camper friendly class setup with the MK48. Now next up, perk 2 is toughness. Toughness is just one of those go-to perks for me. It just makes sure that you do not flinch off of target when you're in a gunfight, when you're being shot at for that matter, and that is pretty crucial in any gunfight for that matter. So that is why I use toughness as much as I do. Now if you do not like toughness, then be sure to swap it for a secondary. Actually, I wouldn't recommend you to go for another perk, mainly because you really do not need a second perk for that matter. If you do not like toughness, then you can switch it up for scavenger. I would actually recommend you to switch it up for a secondary, mainly because it's just something that is going to help you out in those close quarter situations. Something like a B2 3R is of course a lot better than the LSAT at close range, or even the Cap 40 for that matter, but you can also go for something like a Stinger to make sure that your enemies do not get a UAV up in the air, to make sure that they do not get a counter UAV up in the air or anything like that. Anyway, last but not least, my third perk is Dexterity. Now Dexterity is going to make sure that you can actually mental and climb obstacles faster, but it's also going to allow you to hip fire faster after sprinting. Now this is going to help us out a ton in those close quarter situations. Now I know that we're not using a laser sight, but the thing is, we really just don't need a laser sight for this to actually work, because the LSAT and also the MK48, these two weapons can kill someone in 3 bullets, so we only need to hit 3 bullets. The fire rate on the LSAT is actually pretty good, it's 720, so we are probably going to be winning quite a few gunfights when we're simply spraying. That is something that has actually worked for me quite a bit with the LSAT, also with the QBB, actually especially with the QBB, but we'll leave that for another video. Anyway guys, that was it for today's Black Ops 2 Best Class Setup video. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating would as always be very much appreciated. If not, that is of course cool as well. If your LSAT class setup looks a little bit different, or even a lot different for that matter, then be sure to leave it in the comments down below for others to take a look at. If you'd like me to cover a specific gun in the next one, then be sure to leave that in the comments down below as well. With that said, on the screen right now is my latest video, which is another Black Ops 2 progression video. Now in that video I showcase you my custom classes, I showcase you my barracks, so if you haven't checked out that video yet and you are interested in checking it out, then be sure to do so. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see some of you next time. Take it easy.